Hello everyone. Got 3 dirty jokes for you today. So 2 policemen went on patrol at 4 o'clock at night when they suddenly saw an older man walking alone in the street, wobbling and barely walking a straight line. They stopped him for questioning to make sure he's not drunk in public or getting into a car to drive home. "Where does sir come from, please?" they asked him. "I come from the best place in the world," he answered in a very slush voice. "This is my favorite bar that has the best drinks and the nicest girls. Each one is friendlier than the next." The man continued and winked at the cops. "It sounds like a great place," said one of the officers. "And where are you going at a time like this? Shouldn't you be in bed?" "What? Sleep? No way. I'm on my way to a lecture on alcohol addiction and its effects on the body, the harms of smoking, and proper social behavior." "Really?" an officer said dubiously, exchanging knowing looks with his partner. "Are you sure you didn't drink too much tonight? I seriously doubt anyone is giving lectures on these topics at a time like this." The man sighed and said, "Tell that to my wife." So 2 construction workers are finishing a high-rise and suddenly one of them has to take a piss back. The facilities are too far away. He won't make it in time. So, in desperation, he makes a plan. "Look, we'll lay the steel beam out over the infrastructure. You sit on one side to counterbalance and I'll piss off the other side. The piss will vaporize in the wind before it hits anyone on the ground." The other guy agrees and sits on one side of the beam while the piss guy relieves himself over the other side. Suddenly, an urgent line rings from their boss, and the counterbalance guy instinctively races over to answer. So the piss guy in steel beam plummets 75 floors to the ground below. The police investigate and interview office workers from the finished floors below. They asked everyone if they knew what happened, when a guy with a window office came forward saying, "I think I know what happened, but I don't want to say it." The police questioned him in private for a bit, and he finally said, "Well, when he fell past my window, he had his pecker in his hands, screaming, 'Where did that cocksucker go?'" So 3 construction workers eat their lunch at the top of the skyscraper they work on every day. One is British, one is Italian, and one is American. The British worker opens up his lunch bag and finds fish and chips packed inside. "Aw man," he cries in despair, "fish and chips again. I always get fish and chips. I swear, if I get fish and chips tomorrow, I'm jumping off this building." The Italian worker opens up his lunch bag and finds spaghetti packed inside. "Ah man," he cries in despair, "spaghetti again. I always get spaghetti. I swear, if I get spaghetti tomorrow, I'm jumping off this building." The American worker opens up his lunch bag and finds a peanut butter and jelly packed inside. "Ah man," he cries in despair, "peanut butter and jelly again. I always get peanut butter and jelly. I swear, if I get peanut butter and jelly tomorrow, I'm jumping off this building." The next day, the British worker opens his lunch to find fish and chips. So he makes good on his promise and jumps off the building. The Italian worker opens his lunch to find spaghetti. So he makes good on his promise and jumps off the building. The American worker opens his lunch to find a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So he makes good on his promise and jumps off the building also. At their funeral, the wife of the British worker is visibly distraught. "If only I had have known," she sobbed, "none of this would have happened." The wife of the Italian worker is also visibly distraught. "If only I had have known," she sobbed, "none of this would have happened." The wife of the American worker shrugs. "Don't look at me," he packs his own lunch.